if we're starved on any of those. But looks like it's going to be a 2 keystone opener. Once we find wall interaction, that's of course going to allow somebody to split off and head into Blackroot Burrows as the left glades gets explored by the other. But looks like it's going to be pretty linear for all 4 of our players so far.
So where do you think the water interns are going to end up this seed? I'm thinking Horu.
Forlorn. Everything's in Forlorn. That's just how it is.
Considering some of the singles matches we've already seen today, I can believe that.
Yeah, how about you, Poogle? What sort of skills are you hoping to see come up in the early game for our runners?
Well, considering we've already had a Bash Grenade seed today, I'd prefer maybe a Charge Jump seed for once. Now, considering Charge Jump gets you a lot of places, oftentimes it may want you to get to only Blackroot with Charge Jump, but Runner's finding a second energy cell. Now, that's not in logic yet, but I have no doubt that all 4 of our runners are going to keep that one.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting that energy cell there, if progression is gated by Death Gauntlet for the runners and the logic, then the seed could give them something like Clean Water to force them down there to be able to check that. But looks like just keystones and resources so far, Poogle, so runners are going to progress more and more into glades. Turning in this Mapstone pedestal is going to be next because that gates us a pickup. And we are going to see exactly what the next one is. And it's wall jump, so our runners do have a divergence point for them, but I wouldn't be surprised to see both of them just kind of stick along the linear path and finish out. Maybe split off. Somebody goes up and checks Spirit Caverns while the other heads down to wall jump.
I also wouldn't be surprised if one of the Terrors of 2 goes off and checks, let's say, Spirit Caverns while the other goes and hits Blackroot Burrows.
Yeah, that could be an interesting play, Poogle. I'm guessing that's what we'll see out of Raziel as well after he finishes clearing out these pickups. So here we go. We're going to see the first split of the match. Sigma in the top left is in Spirit Caverns now, while Raz is now finishing out sort of the lower glades portion, but nothing so far really to speak of for our split.
Just a bunch of keystones, a bunch more experience, some ability cells. I'm wondering if and when our runners are going to decide to break away from the intended logic of the seed in any shape or form. Ooh, Sigma getting a 3rd energy cell, so we might be seeing some, we might not.
Wow, yeah, that early Death Gauntlet play could be really fascinating to see when somebody heads over. Of course, only having wall interaction, there probably is or could be something still buried around here. Maybe they'll get enough keystones to be able to head on up to be able to go and check this Charge Flame tree early, et cetera, et cetera. But still waiting for that next little bit of progression, but it looks like Blackroot Burrows is definitely going to be the next play for our runners.
Yeah, wall jump not having much more than some more keystones and some more ability cells, so definitely looks like either keystones up to the Hollow Grove area or into Blackroot.
Yeah, for sure, Poogle. And so here we go. We're going to see Raz going to be the first in the top right to be able to get entrance to that Blackroot Burrows, while Sigma's going to be close behind. It was really great communication to see between the two, because Sigma actually, after doing Spirit Cavern, skipped a lot of pickups on his way back down to head to Wall Jump Tree. So really nicely done. Opting to head up to grab that ability cell, Sigma. I like that play. Early ability cells are actually very powerful, especially once we start seeing what sort of next skill comes up. Because, of course, when we get dash, we want to be able to get access to that air dash and charge dash pickups as quickly as possible.
Now, if you get something like Charge Flame first, what do you think about going into the red tree a little bit and getting the increased blast on that? Because I know there are some pickups you can only get via that.
Yeah, I know Sigma's been experimenting with this sort of play with the Charge Flame burn recently, and it's been really, really fun to watch this sort of things you can do. It's really good if you get if you don't have dash or double jump, and you can just sort of opt to not have to worry about pushing out triple jump or even ultra defense at some point in the mid game. If you're comfortable enough to be able to skip those, then it's completely reasonable to be able to go into the red tree to get Charge Flame burn. But otherwise, I usually just sort of opt to trying to push for that ultra defense for the late game.
Looks like Rory is going to head through Spirit Caverns, and since he does have 4 keystones, it wouldn't surprise me if he did head to Charge Flame Tree via this route.
Yeah, that could be really interesting. That could be something that's very, very powerful for Team Skillless, because of course we saw Sigma turning around and opting to also head down into Blackroot Burrows to make progress on that dash tree. So we're going to see what Rory does. Yeah, indeed, he is coming up here. Nice dodge on the turret shot there, and is going to be putting the 4 keys in. So Rory is going to be getting some information for his team. That is still faster, does not have privy to knowing quite yet.
Well, that death scared me for a little bit, but he did put a save right there, so probably intentional.
Yeah, nice being able to get through that key door just a little bit faster. As now, Sigma and Raz taking the lead here in Black Group Bro is going to be able to close it out first. I imagine one of them is going to opt to head down to that boulder escape, or maybe both of them will, as the other decides through. But maybe this play from Rory is actually going to pay off, because we haven't really found anything in Black Group Burrows yet.
That we haven't. Now, there's still the ability cell in the main room once Dash Tree has been gotten, and the map stone and a couple of things down below. But Rory's going to get us our second tree here in about 30 seconds to a minute. And Rory's also going to show us what that really odd one-off pickup that you can either get to by breaking the blue wall or heading from Charge Flame. It wouldn't surprise me if Rory does the blind movement from the Charge Flame tree to get through this blue wall to the other pickup.
Yeah, it's a really cool strat that I actually did not know about until I saw somebody end up busting it out. But in the bottom left here, Rory is going for this. He just did a save anywhere to save the game after activating the tree, and now he's entered this cutscene, and that blue wall there to the right is not going to be shown. Then when it pans over, there is the blue wall indeed, and now Rory is going to be heading downwards. On
the top right-hand side of the screens, IMRaziel, I believe, just found Stomp at the map stone next to the dash tree and Charge Jump at the dash tree itself.
Wow, that is huge for a team that is still faster, because getting this mobility is going to allow somebody immediately to go over into Moon Grotto. As IMRaziel now checking this pickup at the Frankie Walk, just an ability cell, but Sigma is going to be heading down to the boulder escape, which is now in logic with Charge Jump. You can just Charge Jump over this boulder, and this is also going to get a runner's access to Moon Grotto.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if IMRaziel were to head towards through Spirit Caverns, considering he's got 6 keystones, and if Sigma doesn't go through Moon Grotto via the Stomp Peg.
Yeah, I'd love to see that play, and the other nice thing too is IMRaziel having Stomp here. He's going to be able to check that Valley entrance as well as these one-off pickups that he didn't have access to the first time through Glades. So in the top right, Raz is getting a few extra checks. There's also going to be an ability cell in Spirit Caverns itself that nobody has been able to check. So really smart decision-making from the team, because Raz, also not going through Spirit Caverns, as you mentioned, Poogle, is going to be able to get access to both a higher density of pickups from traversing over here instead of Sigma. Sigma only would have been able to check the one-offs instead, but Sig, now in Moon Grotto in the top left.
Oh, there's Grenade!
Yep, and Raz picking up that grenade pickup. They are one skill away from being able to grenade jump, but then also Grenade gets them access to destroying blue things. And so how long is it going to be for Team Skillless to be able to find that grenade pickup?
I'm not certain. It wouldn't surprise me if they were going to go into Moon Grotto after hitting up the Black Group Burrows area, considering that Rory did go through Spirit Caverns already. Now, something else our runners can do is team that is still faster can go to the left into Valley entry.
Yeah, that's a really good point. And so now Raz in the top right finds Dash. Oh, that is so huge for that is still faster. Dash is one of the few skills that drastically reduces the amount of time it takes to be able to finish a randomizer seed. So I imagine Sigma's just going to end up rushing for the double jump tree right now, alt-Ring out, and going for the grenade and dash pickups. That is so huge. Oh, man.
That's a lot of skills for a short amount of time.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, so here we go. Rory and Meldon also in Black Group Burrows, and they're going to be able to find that Stomp and Charge Jump pickup. So we're going to see exactly what they opt to do. I imagine somebody definitely is going to go into Moon Grotto, but is that going to be the decision, Poogle? Do they recognize that Stomp is actually gated by Dash, and recognizing that Dash has to be on the board? So maybe they'll recognize that they do need something to be able to destroy blue walls like Charge Flame or Grenade in Spirit Caverns, which was the logic to get Dash, which was the logic to get Stomp. So the Moon Grotto play that Sigma actually did was actually a slight sequence break instead of backtracking to find those pickups. And so will be interesting to see how they are able to read the logic.
Team Skillless is getting their Charge Jump and Stomp skills. And there's clean water for that is still faster.
Wow, there it is, and that brings the energy cell back into the logic for us folks. And so maybe there's also something at the long swim. We'll find out. The one skill that they could really find that would help them along the way is something like Bash. Finding Bash would definitely solidify. As Sigma in the top left, finding a Gumon Seal shard here in the Crushers. Maybe not the type of shard he was looking for, but still could come into play later if Forlorn is in the logic.
Well, there's their 4th energy. Well, Sigma's 3rd, but there will be a 4th energy for those who have already gotten the 3.
Yeah,
just put all the 4 energy logic doors into play.
Yeah, potentially for sure, Poogle. Okay, in the bottom of our screen, it's going to be really important to see what Rory and Meldon decide to do. Yeah, Rory's making the play to go back into Glades. This is a really excellent read. I wonder if he actually got the read on the logic that Stomp was dash gated, or if he is just sort of checking these areas for safety's sake, just in case there was a pickup over here. But this is going to lead Rory to be able to find the dash and the grenade pickups, as Meldon now making the play into Moonbottom.
Oh, and there's Glide behind, speaking of which, the 4 energy door, which Raziel knows is in logic, but didn't have the 4 energy to get. So, well, oh, there's the 4th energy cell, but actually glitched the door open with the energy glitch instead.
Wow, that's pretty big. I mean, of course there's always a skill there. Of
course, it's the 4 energy door.
Yeah, it's a bit of a meme at this point that one particular 4 energy door has a high chance of having progression, as we've seen in many of our matches so far in the tournament. Rory opting to check this keystone in the bottom left, back right by wall jump tree that is in logic, a little bit out of the way, but nothing really too much to speak of. But having charge jump really cuts down on the backtrack time. But yeah, here we go. We're going to see Meldon down here checking some pickups in this sort of 4 energy gated area. Takes a death at the spider. We're going to see if he ends up opting to try again. No, yeah, just waiting for another cycle to be able to make his way through. But Raz now in Hollow Grove is going to be making work into this area. I wonder if he's going to make a play maybe over to the left here for Horror Fields a bit. No, he's not. He's just going to take his stuff and start dipping most likely into Upper Grotto or going into Swamp or something.
Well, Rory is just about to get Dash, considering he just got Grenade. So as long as he gets this plant, he's going to find Dash for their team as well.
Oh man, in the bottom left, these grenades sometimes they just bounce off the plant, don't break it.
There we go.
And there's the dash pickup, and so he's going to be dashing around furiously as he's communicating that information to his teammate.
Raziel getting the cutscene, which I keep thinking they patched out for some reason or another. But it is there. It is definitely around as Raziel gets the Forlorn Teleporter.
Oh, there it is. And so if they find 2 more Gumon Seal shards, that of course could mean that Forlorn could be indeed in logic. So we'll keep an eye out for that to see if the seed's going to make it. But ooh, top right, Raz also picking up the Sorrow TP. The Sorrow TP, ooh, taking a death though, is going to have to backtrack a bit. But the Sorrow TP is a very, very powerful teleporter to get access to the Charge Jump Tree and also Sorrow. And having Glide, there's a really high amount of density up there.
Now, Sigma taking a save anywhere to the right might be for the cutscene skip?
Yep. Yeah, Sigma's just going to end up skipping this cutscene. He recognizes he doesn't really need this teleporter, especially because of the information that Raz just told them about having Sorrow TP on the map, and them having Charge Jump. Even if they don't have enough health right now to damage boost through Sorrow to be able to get through quickly, Sig knows that he does not need the Hollow Grove TP to be able to get access to the left side, so definitely always going to be a little bit quicker to skip that cutscene.
And Rory also going for the energy door glitch to be very happy upon finding Glide when that door is opened.
Yeah, this is really big for Team Skillless. They might be coming to these crucial pickups just a hair behind their opponents, but not getting randoed and missing those just shows how good they are at sort of denominating the areas. And so that's been really great to see so far in this map.
Oh, and there's Bash!
Wow.
Bash in the roof of the Death Gauntlet in the plants. That's
Yeah, that's really big for that is still faster. Having Bash is one of the most versatile skills, and then they have Dash and Glide, and everything else they need to be able to get through the area. The only thing that they're really missing right now is health. Like, if they just get a bunch more health, they're going to be able to progress through the left side of the map very quickly and very easily. But just having these power skills is both going to increase the rate that they're able to get pickups, as well as open them to opportunities to sequence break the logic to be able to get access to certain trees in order to optimize their routing. So very nice so far. And I like this move from Sig in the top left. He knows where Bash is, and instead of going to Death Gauntlet directly, he's just going to be stomping this peg, which is another way to get to that dash pickup as well.
Oh, right, because he has Clean Water and Stomp on top of that. He can either go underneath through Death Gauntlet or up through the top and down to the plant itself. I like this a lot. Oh, saving himself just barely from that laser.
Nicely done, Sig. And there it is. Sigma has this Bash pickup, and getting a quick update for our runners. It looks like Roryrai in the bottom left is now in Hollow Grove. He's probably going to be digging through this area a little bit in order to check areas, as MeldonTaragon is now collecting the Hollow Grove waypoint. So he opted to not skip the cutscene in order to be able to use that teleporter. And then Raziel now is still clearing out some stuff in Moon Grotto, grabbing the MeldonTaragon shard that Sigma told him about, and finding a 4th health cell for his troubles while he's going to be heading over to Double Jump Tree.
Bit of a death on Sigma's side, but he had a pretty nice save, so he's just going to go this way instead. Now, Clean Water also does put a couple of things in logic, such as the Grenade Door near start, this Swamp pickup, the 4 Energy Door, the entirety of Swamp. Actually, that does put the entirety of Swamp in logic now.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. It's like really nice to have this versatility of pickups, and I'm sure that is still faster. Is absolutely happy to be able to find these crucial skills, a lot of them, or if not all of them, right before the 15-minute mark. So this early in the seed is definitely going to be playing into their favor. Still the Poogle, no Water Vein shards to speak of, no Sunstone shards either. Where are these shards buried, and is this sort of indicative that we could end up having a very long seed on our hands?
Well, we've got 2 of the 3 MeldonTaragon shards. Forlorn?
Yeah, it could be Forlorn. It's going to be interesting to see what happens once our runners start branching off to the left side of the map. All we've really been seeing so far is right side shenaniganry, but with Bash, it's going to be fairly easy for Sigma and Raz to be able to get access through Sorrow, as well as I'm sure Meldon and Rory are also familiar with a lot of those sequence breaks. But yeah, looks like Sigma now making the play for Swamp.
You can get both the Drainless experience as well as... Well, actually, Sigma has a bit of an option. He can either take the lower route through the water, which it looks like he's going to take, or he could have taken the upper route using Charge Jump.
Yeah, I like this play from Sig. I think, especially in this circumstance, it's definitely good to be able to check those water pickups. And if you're coming down here anyway, you may as well just use the lower route to get a little bit quicker access. But then also with Stomp and Charge Jump, you can just backtrack out of here to be able to check those pickups rather than altaring out and using a teleporter back to Moon Grotto. So maybe a little bit of divisive routing here coming out of Sig. I like this play.
Now, bottom left of the screen, Rory's going to give us the view of a couple pickups none of the runners have checked yet. So it's going to be interesting to see if these few that our runners haven't gotten, they're going to go through here instead.
Yeah, so Sigma also finding a Sunstone shard in the top left of your screen in this swim section. So we'll definitely see Raziel coming over for this. But here we go. Raz is making the play for left side. He's going to be stomping the peg to be able to get access to these valley pickups as he's going to be heading over to be able to start making his way to Feather Tree and eventually Sorrow and Misty. Taking a little bit of a death. Ooh, taking a big death there from Raz. It's going to cost him a bunch of time, but no problem. He had a save right there on the teleporter, and so able to just be able to bounce back from that and just has to watch this cutscene again after stomping the peg.
And Rory's going to also be able to find that not only that Sunstone shard that Sigma found under the water, but it looks like Sigma got Wind restored in here as well. So, oh, except for Rory doesn't have Clean Water.
Oh yeah, and this low amount of health is going to stop Rory from being able to check that one pickup. This could end up playing in favor for Sigma and Raz, but at this point in the game, not really too much that they could need to be able to get the verticality to be able to get through. They have Bash and Dash and Valley, and so going to be pretty sufficient for them to be able to work through, I imagine.
It's also a lot of energy. Like, Rory doesn't have a mega energy. Rory just has that much energy. And with
Wow.
charge dash efficiency, that's pretty something.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's always feels really good to work with that charge dash efficiency. But nice thing too is that Stomp Tree ended up having another health cell, and so I'm sure all of our runners are going to be happy with that. Being really starved on health can make it very easy to take unintentional deaths as they progress through. But very impressive play from all 4 of our runners so far. Not anything too costly.
Rory going to charge dash his way over the water and ends up zooming in on one of the fish.
Whoops. Yeah, here we go. Eyes on the bottom right now is Meldon actually heading into Death Gauntlet, so I'm sure he is going to be coming across this bash pickup for his teammates very soon, and so I'm sure Rory's going to be very excited about that. Having plenty of energy to be able to dip into Death Gauntlet very fast is going to be worth it. And there it is. There's the bash pickup from Meldon. So now our runners, once again, equivalent on the skill checks for the map. But Raz, being the first to make it into Valley, finding a health cell at the plant is so huge. Bringing his team up to that 6 health is going to be absolutely nice as they progress into the late game.
And I'm still really curious over the fact that we've still not found a single water vein shard.
Yeah, this is pretty insane, Poogle. Like, we're running out of locations to be able to check in terms of density, and so a lot of these major areas are going to be really important for being able to narrow down. Sorrow is kind of the last bastion of high-density pickups that our runners would want to spend a lot of time in. Also, we haven't seen a play from our runners to go into lower Blackroot yet to be able to check the light grenade tree in the surrounding area. So could be something down there, or just all the water vein shards could be horrendous locations.
Well, considering that with Bash, Grenade, and Clean Water, the entirety of Lost Grove is open.
Oh man, please long swim. Right.
So, okay, so we've got, obviously, a couple of water vein shards in Horror, a couple of them in Forlorn, and the last one in the Long Swim.
Yeah, exactly. That sounds about right.
That sounds awful.
Oh my goodness. And Rao's actually opting to go for Sorrow Bash instead of maybe using the Sorrow TP. I guess this makes sense because there's higher density in the lower ends of Sorrow, so maybe just opting to check those pickups first, and then after checking those, maybe using the teleporter to be able to get access to the tree really easily. But struggling a little bit, out trying to get this trick over and over again. Let's see how many more attempts it's going to take Raz to be able to get in.
Right, because this trick is made slightly more difficult by the lack of double jump.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible in Randomizer. You sort of have to be able to be ready for a plethora of situations to be able to get through this. And not having double jump in this one scenario actually does make this trick a lot different, because your setup is no longer what you're used to in terms of your muscle memory for bash angles and repositioning of the bird. So definitely no surprise that a difficult trick could be giving Raz this much trouble, but no worries, he still has plenty of time. He's the only one on left side right now, so any information that he's going to end up getting is going to be extremely invaluable, as now Sig on the top left is making the play for the lower Blackroot burrows, so we're going to see if he turns up anything important.
I like this. On the left-hand side of the screen, both upper and lower screens, Rory's giving us our first look at this 4 energy door that we couldn't see prior. And Sigma's getting the grenade area. I wonder if he's also going to go head up fully, well, head down more say, fully through. Now, both of the sides of that is still faster have access to very dense pickups. And there's the first Sunstone shard, speaking of which, in the Spike Cave. Now, both of the players have access to pretty area-dense pickups with IMRaziel and Sorrow, and Sigma in lower Blackroot. Despite people not really wanting to be there, well, it's still got a decent amount of pickups, but Sigma's gonna choose to leave, and the truck correcting me that Sigma got the first Sunstone shard in the swamp water. So, thank you, truck.
Yeah, Raz also picking up the Spirit Light efficiency. This is actually going to be really nice for them being able to close out Ultra Defense on the map. Of course, having Clean Water is able to mitigate any requirement of getting Ultra Defense, especially if they end up dipping into Lost Grove. But Sigma just opting to check some stuff in lower Blackroot, and then is going to Altar out, and most likely join his ally and trying to push down these trees. But Spirit Light efficiency is also nice actually at this point in the game because the EXP values are going to be really high from those static pickups. Because later in progression, these EXP pickups are, the more likely they will have very, very high values.
Well, we found Charge Flame on Mapstone 5.
Hooray!
So, with the fact that we've got no Water Vein shards right now, and we've got 2 to 3 Sunstone shards, dungeons are looking like a possibility for where they're going to be Water Vein shards. Now, I like this play from Rory. Instead of going through the normal way to left side, taking the teleporter from Sunken Glades into Sorrow, as with Bash and Stomp, you can get to the teleporter and get from the teleporter to the tree. And ooh, I see what Meldon's doing. Do you see what Meldon's doing?
Yeah, it looks like Meldon making the play for Forlorn. Having that teleporter is going to get him access to another Mapstone pedestal turn-in, as well as a bunch of pickups around here. And not having double jump makes some of these areas a little bit trickier again. But no, just doing it for the Mapstone turn and then opting to join his ally in Sorrow and checking these pickups and making his way to the tree. And in fact, Sigma in the top left, I like this play from him, taking the teleporter and then going to the right instead of making a direct push for the tree. This is going to bring him to the key dupe door area, but also he's going to just be breaking the floor easily to be able to go up and check that Sunstone pickup.
So, I also like this play from Sigma, considering that he doesn't have to go through the entirety of Forlorn to, well, entirety of Sorrow. See, I'm wanting them to go to Forlorn too at this point.
Yeah.
But Sigma can now get both the second Sunstone Shard and get to the tree, or get to the other pickups that Raziel hasn't gotten, which means that they can get to a lot of this more efficiently.
Yeah, and Raz in the top right is now really getting to this high density area of pickups, which is going to be this sort of left side of Sorrow, which is usually one of the earlier areas you visit on a casual playthrough. But it's very, very nice because there are a lot of pickups over here, and they're all pretty quick to check. So they're just finding an ability cell. Sigma grabbing the second Sunstone Shard for his team, and so he is equivalent with Raz. And Rory is going for this double bash here in the bottom left. This can be a really tricky setup, once again, without double jump. Double jump kind of makes a lot of these sequence breaks a lot easier. Maybe he doesn't know about that you can just sort of get into a little divot above the wall and stomp it.
That's also pretty difficult without having double jump as well.
Yeah, they have like bash and dash to make it over, but nicely done being able to get through there and heading for the tree and grabbing that. So nicely done from Rory, but still.
See what Raz got?
Oh no, I missed it. Did he get climbed?
No, Raz got the third Gumon Seal Shard.
Oh,
Forlorn is 100% within logic now.
Fantastic. All right, so
Actually does bring up an interesting point, considering that our runners do have Stomp and Bash and whatnot. They can check the way down to Forlorn on top of that.
It'll be interesting to see if anybody on the team decides to make that play to checking that section of the valley. That's not really a play that we normally go to in like clue seeds, let alone just like normal playthroughs of a game. And so will be funny to see if that actually ends up holding the shards as well. And it's a lot easier to go from the Valley TP down to Forlorn than it is to backtrack. Possible, but extremely, extremely difficult to do in close.
So we're getting to see something new on Meldon's side, lower right. Meldon is... Oh, looks like he was going to try double bashing the frog to get around, however, is going to completely abuse the fact that you can bash grenade to get through this instead of killing both of them.
Yeah, nicely done from Meldon. Those spikes right above him right now in the bottom right, whereas he just passed them, are actually instant death. They just deal infinite damage.
Oh my goodness, was the Valley Teleporter Feather?
That's amazing if it was. That's just so great.
I think the Valley Teleporter was the Feather pickup. That's really amazing.
Oh man, Sigma on the top left making going to be the first person here in this match going to be going over to Misty. Only having 2 health makes this a little bit spooky, but I'm sure Sigma's going to be fine with Glide. Yeah, there he goes, and then checking these pickups as he's on his way over to climb tree. So Still, Poogle, no water vein shards to speak of so far.
Yeah, which is getting me a little worried. Well, I suppose would be worried for the runners, but amusing me, because Sigma's getting nothing but health cells, which is going to give them, all the runners, a lot of resources for doing things that they probably don't want to do.
Yeah, for sure. Which is going to be pretty amazing. In the next couple of minutes, we're going to see how this match is going to devolve, with people making weird decisions of which areas they're going to check next. Horu Fields is reasonable. Forlorn is reasonable. As Sig comes across another
There's the 4 of 5 MeldonTaragon shards.
Oh man, if that's not a blinking light telling him to go to Forlorn, I don't know what is. No, I'm just kidding.
If we find a 5th MeldonTaragon shard within logic, then the game's telling you go to Forlorn.
It just has to be. But I'm guessing Sig is going to continue in Misty here, just go and finish out most of it. It'll be interesting to see if he opts to do the vanilla MeldonTaragon pickup location. It's very time intensive and it takes 4 keystones to be able to get to, and it's very, very time intensive. But that could be that one vital water vein shard that could change the scope of the match, and not having any of them must have our players pretty paranoid right now.
So I propose a question to you then. What would your thoughts be if you're going through Misty and you find the 3rd Horror shard, the 3rd Sunstone shard? What would you do?
I think I would communicate it to my ally that it's there, but maybe just continue checking various locations like Forlorn to let them know that there is a easier and a quicker one to acquire. These pickups over here that Sig is checking right now aren't too much slower, but it can
no!
And there it is! There it is, Poogle. There's the 3rd Sunstone shard, so will be interesting to see what Raz ends up doing for their team. And Sigma alt-Ring immediately, saying, yep, that's it. Those are all the pickups that I need to check right now. And we're going to see where Sig, in the top left, decides to go next. Is it Forlorn? Is it Horu? And it is Forlorn.
Looks like he's going to Forlorn.
No, yeah, I like this.
I do like this as well.
Yeah, so tell me your thoughts on this, Poogle. Why maybe Forlorn instead of a place like Horu?
Well, if you don't have to go to Horu, it's considering that Horu has a lot less... Ooh, I like that from Sigma. Taking the orb and instead checking a pickup via damage boost, and if not, he didn't like it, he just left. But as you were asking, I like this considering that Horu is a lot slower than Forlorn if you're looking for water vein shards. And Sunstone shards!
And a Sunstone shard early in Forlorn, so definitely Raz is going to be making the play for that one instead of going all the way through the latter portion of Misty. So that is really, really nice for their team right now.
Yeah, but considering that Horu is, well, a lot slower, and you have to have Stomp, and you have to have a bunch of other things on top of that, I definitely like the Forlorn play instead, because it's a little bit more pickup dense with a little bit less time-consuming pickups to get.
Yeah, I like this play from Sig. He just activated a cutscene which saved the game right at the entrance for him, and checked 2 more pickups. They were nothing, so took an intentional death to warp himself to the beginning of the dungeon. That actually speeds up that section quite a lot. And now is going to be checking outside of Forlorn directly. Still not much, just a map stone to speak of, but 2 more pickups for Sig before he ends up alt-Ring. Oh my goodness, it's a 2nd water vein shard. That is really big. So now 2 out of 3 were indeed in Forlorn, as Sigma debating, backtracking, but instead is just going to actually make the play to re-enter Forlorn, Poogle. This is interesting. Maybe he's going to check the latter half of Forlorn by backtracking through. Nope.
No, it looks like he's just opening the door, and opening the door saves the game. I believe that does put an autosave there, so if Sigma doesn't like what he finds, he can just exit out, reload the save, and it should put him directly in front of the door.
Yeah, good point. And really interesting, in the bottom left is where the action currently is. Rory decided to continue on in Misty, where Sigma opted to alt-R. So if he finds a water vein shard in this grenade-gated pickup, or maybe even like in the vanilla Gumon skill check, that could be huge, because who knows, maybe the last 2 water vein shards on the map are going to be in awful locations, and Raz in the top right, also making the play for Lost Grove. Google.
Oh, and it looks like I am mistaken in that Sig just doesn't have all three shards, and therefore could not get back in.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, so maybe between the two teams they were able to find stuff, but Sigma doing some really interesting backtracking strats here. Making quick work of them is going to be checking all these pickups. Nothing too much right now to speak of, but there's still like 1 or 2 more for him to check here. We're going to see if he decides to do the fax sell as well.
And Raziel going for the long swim in Lost Grove.
Oh, Sigma in the top left actually doing a really cool strat, which is he's going to be doing a Terra break here on the fax cell. I didn't know you could do this, but it's just extra air dash, but that was still really cool.
Extra air dash is a rather nice movement tool, so I think it's worth it that they got said thing, but I'm not sure if it was worth getting for the sake of this.
Yeah, will be interesting to see, and we're also getting word that Rory opted to end up skipping the Vilnius MeldonTaragon pickup. I think that's a wise decision. It's a very time-costly pickup that
my
can
gosh,
really eat up a lot of
there's
time.
the last last MeldonTaragon shard in the bottom of Lost Grove.
Fantastic. But now Sigma, I like this, making the revisit to Forlorn. There's still 3 more pickups for him to check, which end up just being the stomp-gated pickups on the right side, as well as the activation of Forlorn itself.
There's a question of how does Sigma have the orb? I believe Sigma picked it up from going above the teleporter immediately prior, therefore grabbing the orb.
He was like backtracking and ended up like meeting him halfway. It was really bizarre, but the orb here in Forlorn works in mysterious ways. We're not gonna pretend to be able to tell the arcade notes, or at least I can't.
Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend I can tell the words either.
Yeah, it's weird. It's like it's like the first time you altar out, it sends the orb to the beginning, but then maybe it wasn't at the beginning. I don't know, man, but that's okay. Raz, top right, picking up the Water Vein Shard and another Sunstone Shard. That's going to finish out his Sunstone. And he is going to be heading probably to that Forlorn entrance to be able to check that other Water Vein Shard that Sig found earlier. And Rory is making the play down here into lower Blackroot Burrows as well. Is going to be checking some pickups here.
So Raz actually can go out and in the door because I believe Raziel has all 3 shards.
Oh, that's good. That'll be a nice little bit for him. And he is also going to make use of this teleporter. Oh, maybe he doesn't know about it. Okay, so yeah, so the game actually saved there for Raz, so he doesn't have to do all this traveling, but that's totally okay. It's a little bit of a weird trick. But Sigma on the top left, checking the plant and the cell. It was nothing, just Keystone and some stuff. So Sig is now going to be making the play over for Forlorn Escape.
Now, then we are still missing a single Water Vein Shard. I really hope it didn't end up in Horror.
Yeah, this is it, Poogle. This is the moment of truth for us. Sigma in the top left. Is it going to be here? Is it indeed going to be Forlorn Escape? Did Forlorn gate all 3 Water Vein Shards for our runners today? And it is...
Wait for it.
One time. It's not there. It's an ability cell. Oh, man.
So, Muffin, if you end up seeing that, do you go and start making a round of all the one-offs, or do you go to Horu?
I would just make the play to go to Horu at this point. I think Raz is making the play to check one-offs, which is definitely reasonable. But having that density in Horu, and maybe they are worried that somebody did get the jump on them for the one-offs, and that could be big for them. But it's having Horu open to them is definitely a reasonable place to go to check Water Vein Shards. I mean, there's 3 on the map, and we as commentators know that they could really be anywhere for our runners, but the runners also don't know that, so maybe they do make the
play. Okay, he might just be checking Horror Fields, which is 4 pickups, relatively within the logic that they can get to. So, I'm wondering if he's just going to check horror fields and leave, or if he is going to go into horror.
Yeah, this will be wild to see. Our runners still do have plenty of map zones to turn in as well, and map zones were appearing across the map. A lot of them were ditched because runners were just kind of like skipping them and saying, oh, I don't need this map zone right now. But the last water vein shard still could be gated by a map zone turn-in.
Alright, so that is one of the pickups that is unavailable of being a water vein shard. We've got Roryrai heading into... Oh, right, you can use the baneling for that. But Roryrai heading into Forlorn himself to see what is around. Going to get the knowledge of those Sunstone and Water Vein shards very soon.
Yeah, this is big for Team Skillless. Is they're actually, even though the team that is still faster was able to get a little bit of a quicker clear for all the trees for their teammates, Team Skillless is kind of on equal footing, because now that Rory is in Forlorn and finding that Sunstone shard and soon to be his last water vein shard if he heads down to the entrance.
Oh my goodness. Do you see what this is still faster is doing? And someone joked about this in chat as a meme, but they're actually doing it. I think they're gonna split horror up left and right.
This is a great play. I am 100% behind this. I mean, eventually you just kind of have to like throw your hands up. They have checked all of the other rough locations, right? Like Lost Grove, Forlorn, right? They've done the thing. And so both of them going for some very sequence breaks. Sig is going to door warp to check the validation pickup at the very end. It's not actually required to be able to finish out seeds, but we like to meme about it. And it is going to be an ability cell. And Raz just finds a keystone for a save drop. So none of those plays working out for their team yet, so they are going to be heading upwards into Horu, Google.
And Meldon is going to join them in there as Rory clears out Forlorn. And so Rory's going to find that second water vein shard outside of Forlorn, and we've got 3 of our 4 runners in Horu. I am kind of speechless at the fact of... Did this turn into an all dungeons run or something?
Yeah, Google. And also, double jump hasn't shown its face yet. We have no idea where double jump or climb are. So this could actually end up gating one of our runners a nice little advantage for finding double jump with getting through Horu. Because not having double jump, I can tell you in some of these sections, is particularly rough. But Rory, on the left, is going to find the next water vein shard as he progresses downwards. Or maybe, no, he already found it. So that is going to be really, really nice for the runners as Raz is heading up. Sigma doing a little bit of a sequence break to be able to skip this cutscene. And maybe just barely missing the storage. Yeah, and he gets it. Okay. So he was able to skip that cutscene. So rip no lore, as Raz is going to be embracing us with a little bit of lore himself, as Meldon now making the play for his team into Horu as well.
Alright, so we've got both of our runners looks like going into R1 on the top side.
Yeah, I think this is a really good play. Just everybody doing R1. There are a good number of pickups in here, 3 of them, and in fact, that are not too bad to get to for Horu. However, that being said, left side does not have as many pickups as right side ends up having. So very important to be able to check a good number of pickups, and then whoever decides to go left side for a team that is still faster will not have to do R1, so they won't have to backtrack all the way up to be able to check it. But nothing here in R1, so where are those 3 water vein shards, Google? Where are they?
So one of them's in R4. One of them is in R4, one of them's the dash plant, and one of them, Ginso escape.
One of Ginso escape. Oh no.
Honestly, I actually wouldn't be surprised if the last water vein was in Ginso at this point.
Yeah, pretty interesting that Mapstone was found in R1, as our people behind the scenes are cluing at. This Mapstone turn-in from Sig will be interesting, but it looks like
it's Warmth returned!
Wow, what a troll. So Warmth returned is the quote-unquote major event pickup that you find usually like right at the end of a run, which is what happens when you activate the final escape. It literally does absolutely nothing at all. So it's kind of a meme. It's the only pickup that literally does nothing.
So it looks like that is still faster. Is just going to go through the right-hand side.
Yeah, interesting that they're not splitting up right-hand, left side. Maybe they're just saying if the other team does end up splitting, then their other teammate still has to go through L 1, 2, 3, and 4 anyway. So we may as well check the highest number of pickups possible for our team together, because then if it is on right side, we have an advantage over them if they decide to split. So probably a nice calculated play. I didn't even consider this before I saw them doing this in action. Very interesting.
Alright, now R3. I believe R3 also has a pickup, or is it just R4?
R3 does have a pickup. There's a plant at the very end that they can check, and after they finish R3, there's actually a pickup in the main room that opens up that they can check as well. So R3, I guess, gates 2 pickups? But it's kind of wild that they still haven't found it yet. We are really running low on the number of pickups that exist across the entire map, folks. That could actually be gating the one water vein shard we need to be able to finish out the seed.
Now, Rory's also looks like he's headed to Horo. I like this plan of getting the Horo Field's teleporter.
Yeah, this will be nice. This will cut down on the time it takes them to be able to backtrack. And so the question is backtracking from Swamp TP significantly slower than having to stomp that pig, watch the door open, and then go and grab the teleporter yourself? So not quite sure which one is more costly or time safe, but top left, Sigma checks the plant, just the keystone.
Now, curiously enough, considering Meldon's doing the right-hand side of Horror right now, I'm wondering if since Meldon's doing the right-hand side of Horror right now, I'm wondering if Rory's going to end up going left side. Also, that's a bit of a troll.
Yeah, just 355 experience for our runners here in that post R3 pickup, but R4 is here, and now Sigma checking pickup. It is indeed a water vein shard, so Sigma finding the last water vein shard his team needs. All he has to do is float above it for barely enough time to be able to altar out. He gets it. Okay, so Sigma now in go mode, heading to Ginso tree to be able to collect the final tree that he needs to be able to finish out the seed, which is really, really huge. So now definitely that is still faster, is in the lead.
Look, when I was jokingly saying that the water vein shard was going to be in R4, I didn't actually mean the water vein was going to be in R4.
Yeah, this is quite the crazy seed. It started off like a jet seed and then just sort of ended up being like, you know what, here, let's stick 2 water vein shards in Forlorn, and then maybe the other 3 and 4 in Horror. We still don't know about that the other 2 shards that could be on the map.
Well, there are a certain amount of pickups that are just one-offs scattered around the map that our runners haven't checked yet. On top of that, there is the possibility of a water vein shard or 2 being in Ginso, which would honestly just be absolutely awful.
Yeah, that would be pretty terrible indeed. But now we see Sigma working his way through Ginso, no problem. He has like all of these endgame skills and just being able to get through fast. Still checking some pickups, maybe just looking for double jump. I mean, Horu could expect you to go through and not really have double jump to progress through because it's not required. So also finding climb here would actually be a significant time save. If he is able to spend less than 35 seconds checking pickups, then finding climb will end up saving him time overall in his seed completion.
Oh, thank goodness so many people are correcting me on the fact that Ginso shards cannot actually be there.
Yeah, that does make sense, I guess, for the
There's double jump in the Ginso tree!
Alright, Sigma with the double jump pickup. We're going to see if he's able to find climb as well. If he finds climb here, that would actually be huge. Nah, I'm not going to check that last keystone. He says, I'm done checking. It's just time for us to push to the very end of the seed. But I wouldn't be surprised to see Raz going for that double jump pickup as well. But a quick update, Meldon now finished with R3, is going to be heading on over, and he soon is going to find that last Water Vein Shard that his team needs to be able to get access to Ginso Tree. But we're going to see, because Rory was really the one who sort of pioneered going through Forlorn to be able to find those Water Vein Shards. And Meldon still needs to backtrack to be able to check those. So Sigma heading to the final escape. This is definitely, that is still Faster's race to lose.
I'm still in complete awe over the fact of just, wow. Meldon heading into R4 now. Wait, so the Water Vein Shard was literally the last pickup in R4?
Yeah, there's the one underneath here that normally expects you to be able to finish out, but Meldon finding it indeed confirms that is the Water Vein Shard we need, and we see Rory Alt R immediately saying, okay, I need to go to Horu, I need to go to R4 right now to get that shard. But Raz already finished with R4, but it looks like Raz still has a little bit of tree cleanup that he needs to do, as he is in Misty right now, clearing his way. As Sigma getting through Door Warp and is now in the final escape territory, going to be starting that and finishing on through the sea.
Looks like Meldon's gonna get his remaining shards in Forlorn / outside of Forlorn. Rory's going to enter Ginso, to enter Horu, wow. About the time that Sigma's gonna start going through Escape. Now, not only do our runners have plenty of health to do this, they've got double jump, they've got clean water, they've got literally everything except grenade jumps.
It's pretty wild that Climb never really showed its face. Maybe it was just an upper Ginso or something like that. Really inconvenient to our runners, but that's okay. Having all of the runners on the equal foot will probably be nice recognition. I'm sure Raz and Sigma are confident enough in their clearing ability to be able to confirm that Climb was probably in not a very nice place.
And with those fish strats, Sigma is through the final escape.
Yeah, nicely done from Sig. Very clean final escape and very clean execution as he was heading through majority of the seed. Not too much trouble here for him as he was progressing through. And Raz, now in Ginso Tree, is definitely going to be finishing out very, very soon.
Meldon picking up his remaining Water Vein Shard outside of Forlorn. And he's probably going to head straight to Ginso to finish up his tree collection.
Yeah, there we go. Meldon being the first for his team to be able to make his way over to Ginso Tree using the Swamp Teleport to get access now. Raz is quite far ahead, though, just clearing out the mini-boss now. Will be interesting to see if Raz ends up going for double jump. He doesn't really need it for the final escape, just makes things a little bit easier going through. And yeah, it looks like Raz does want double jump indeed. Whoops, just slightly missing it there. There it is, and he has his double jump.
That does make me extremely curious as to where Climb ended up.
Yeah, that would definitely be interesting to find out. Sigma, though, is going to be the finish to cross the line. Of course, the overall time to decide which team ends up winning here is the average between the two runners of that team. So Sigma finishing in first here in a convincing manner is definitely going to be a huge advantage. And Raz all the way being on the way to final escape, this is almost certainly going to close out for the match for them.
That it is. Rory's still got a bit of going through Horror to do, considering it's all the way down in R4. Does make me wonder whether or not the left-hand side had anything more easily accessible.
Yeah, there was that Gumon seal check that nobody actually ended up finishing out in the second half of Missy. That could have ended up being a Water Vein Shard, or like Climb even. As well as, let's see, trying to think of benign pickups. No, they did the Sunstone check and everything else in Forlorn, so that's about it really that I can think of. Maybe the EXP in Lost Grove. I don't think anybody ended up getting that either.
I believe someone did.
Interesting. All right.
We've got a bunch of extraneous one-offs. There's a couple of pickups in Guma's hideout. There's the dash plant, etc., etc.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, I'd be surprised if somebody forgot to check dash plant, but I guess that is true. Yeah. Yeah, here we go. So Raz now in the top right is going to be starting his final escape sequence. He is just mere minutes away from being able to close out the seed and the victory for his teammates, while Rory in the bottom left is working his way through R2, which is the second room on the right-hand side. We just have them numbered going downwards in an increment to be able to sort of label which room we're in, of course, because you have to start from the top and work your way down.
And I am being told by multiple sources that the dash plant was indeed checked.
All right. Good to know. So now Raz, working through the lantern room, just kind of waiting for the lava column there, maybe just had a little bit of a hiccup in movement. That's totally okay. Definitely not required. As long as you don't take a death in the final escape, just kind of waiting an extra cycle isn't too bad. But clean water, plenty of health. We're going to see if he ends up opting for fish strats here as he's bashing the fish over. He is, and he's doing the walking method, which is a little bit scary, but nice. He gets up there. Raz is going to be holding right. GG to team that is still faster, which is going to be walking away with a win here for tonight's doubles match. And they are going to go up 3-0 in the Swiss round heading into round 4. And not only that, but clinch their position in the bracket stage of the match. Because, of course, you need at least 3 wins to be able to qualify for that.
Interesting thought. Meldon didn't end up picking up the double jump. So, Meldon just went zooming straight through the Ginso tree. Didn't grab the keystones. So, not going to have that for the final escape. Considering the skill level that both That Is Still Faster and Team Skillless are at, I doubt it's going to be much of an issue.
Yeah, I like that decision from Meldon. He's going to say the only thing that would really speed up the seed is climb, and there's enough pickups in Ginso where climb could really be at any portion of the tree. So may as well just like opt to go consistently fast through the area instead of stopping to check some extra pickups. And he is definitely having no trouble utilizing that glide to get that air retention time to be able to get through. Nicely done from Meldon.
And we've got Raziel done with his escape. Just needs a bit of Nar hops, or not so Nar hops. Meldon not going for fish strats, but also not spawning Kuro, so Meldon can just get through the rest of escape.
Nicely done, Meldon. Going to be the third person to finish out the seed as Rory. Just having to go R1 through R4, it does take a really long time to be able to go through and check the pickups, but nicely done, not checking any extraneous pickups, just going directly towards that water vein pickup that he knows is indeed there.
Meldon is going to be done with his escape as Rory gets that last water vein shard that he needs to go into the Ginso tree, get the last tree that is Bash, and head back into Horu. So you had to go into Horu, then out of Horu, then into Horu again.
Fantastic.
This seed is making my head hurt.
Yeah, this is kind of a crazy seed, like being HP starved for the longest time on the seed and then following up with those really high impact skills, getting them pretty early on. Team That Is Still Faster had some really nice split up right at the beginning to be able to make use of that, and the rechecks from both teams were able to allow them to consistently move through each section and checking pickups. The cleanup for that Is Still Faster ended up working out for them a little bit better, and being able to both be in Horu at the same time, checking those right side pickups was definitely a powerful play on their part. Interesting decision not to split up between left side and right side, but I cannot wait to bring them in for an interview after our runner ends up finishing up here.
Absolutely.
Yeah, here we go. So now Rory at the key door. Nicely done, not checking any more pickups. Not going to be finding double jump, but he definitely doesn't need that with the skills he has and the skills he employs as a proficient speedrunner to be able to get through the final escape. 10 to 10 trees, 3 out of 3 water vein shards, 3 out of 3 sunstone shards, and Roryrai is now going to be heading through to Mount Horu once again to be able to start and finish his final escape.
So we are going to get to see Door Warp again.
Yeah, and look at this. Rory also making nice utilization of that Horu teleporter that he ended up already picking up. So going to be cutting down on that backtrack time from the teleporter to be able to get to the entrance to Mount Horu. So nice utilization there, and remembering that he has that at his accessibility.
I love using the Baneling as a bit of a mobile rocket jump platform in order to get over the lava, considering that once you go through R1, you no longer have a bridge.
Yeah, exactly. I do like that play, and then just like C-dashing a bunch of times is really, really nice. They have tons of energy. They have C-dash efficiency. That's insane. That's like so many C-dashes that you can just pack in to feel good.
Throwing in stomp cancels for... Oh, wait, no double jump. I was about to say throwing in stomp cancels for good measure. That's a lot of C-dashes.
Yeah, for sure, Poogle. But now Roryrai activating his final escape, picking up that health regen pickup that is normally Worm's return in a vanilla playthrough. He's going to be C-dashing through. Nice stomp on the floor there to not have to... like, if you stomp it in the wrong location, you end up having to start to fall down again. But if you get in the right spot, you can just travel all the way through. And Rory opting to maybe go for a bit of a damage boost there to get through a little bit quicker. Almost just took a death there, but nicely done. And having clean water is going to allow him to get through. And, oh, yeah, of course, Rory is going to go for fish strats to close out.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, no.
The bird takes a death, and he's going to just barely be able to get over to the right-hand side and not take a death from Kuro. Then bashing on up, Rory, GG, is going to be holding right here. Time is going to be coming up for him in about 1 minute and 13 seconds from now, so he's going to be finishing 1 hour, 3 minutes, and about 13 seconds to his end time, plus or minus a second or so. But nicely done. So Team Skillless not walking away from a win here, but they are taking their first loss here in the doubles. Very unsurprising because they are a very proficient and a force to be reckoned with in the doubles side of the tourney. I cannot wait to see what their next 2 matches in the Swiss round is going to bring to them and see if they can close out that spot in the bracket, because of course they do need 1 more win to be able to get up to that 3-win margin to qualify.
I have no doubt that they are going to get that 3rd win either in next round or the round afterwards, especially in a seed that is not as awful as this one.
Yeah, for sure. This seed was quite the adventure. Like, it opened up like looking like a very promising seed at the start, but it was just like complete 180. Like, as you're progressing through, I cannot wait to hear their thoughts on this, because it's like, no water vein shards. There are no water vein shards. And like a sunstone shard. And then everything was on like left side of the map in Horu. Oh my goodness, what a crazy seed.
That's not a seed I'd wish on anyone. And yet 4 of the most skilled runners in this tournament took that seed, beat it to heck, and have a respectable average on both sides. That was... oh boy.
Yeah, for sure. And so now Rory finishing out with a 103.13. Nicely done from him. This is definitely an easy seed to be able to go way over that 1 hour mark. Like, I know if I had done this seed solo, it would have taken me like probably double the amount of time as any of these runners. But that being said, it looks like we are joined by our victors here, Sigma and Raziel. GG, guys. Nice race.
Thanks. I think the randomizer won this one, though, pretty clearly.
Yeah, so I guess first a question for you, Sig, and Raz, please weigh in after for sure. As this seed was progressing and you were like not finding any water vein shards, was this a little terrifying?
Well, we had that impending sense of doom, like the Forlorn TP and a whole bunch of Gumon Seal Shards showing up like very long before we went to Forlorn. We said it's probably going to be something in Forlorn. We just didn't know the extent of how actually horrible it was going to be.
I don't think anyone had an extent of how actually horrible that was going to be, so we're all right there with you. So, I've got a question for you two. What made you guys both go right side in Horu instead of splitting up left and right?
Well, we were talking about it, and we had pretty much cleared the entire world except for Horu and some like completely god-awful pickups at that point, like the end of Misty. So, and there's still 3 missing shards, so it's like, what are the chances that all 3 of those shards are on the left side? Pretty low, but like, what are the chances that all 3 of them are on the right side? Like, decently higher, right? So we figured it has to be right Horu at this point. like almost for sure. So we might as well just reduce our time by not having anybody waste time with the left side and just guarantee that we find a shard on the right. You know, with reasonable probability. So we just like said, whatever, forget splitting up for knowledge. Like it's almost for sure on the right side. Let's just do it.
And that paid off for you.
So that's why you told me to do the right side of horror. I didn't. I just followed him. You know, I didn't think of the logic.
Nice.
Certainly paid off.
Yeah, for sure. So, question for you, Raz. The skill cleanup early was pretty great for you guys. How did you feel like after finding the grenade and that bringing into dash? Did you guys like figure out the logic that that stomp ended up being dash gated, and so it was going to be something in left glades and in upper valley entry?
No. Well, I didn't. I just ran around picking up stuff.
Nice.
But, well, actually, so I felt like this was going to be a super fast seed. Like, we got all pretty much all the skills that we could have asked for. But then, well, then the rest happened, right?
Yeah, exactly. And so kind of throwing a question over to you, Sig, were you... in Ginso Tree, you actually ended up digging for extra skills instead of just going straight for the tree. Was this to maybe try and find a climb pickup to be able to bring your team's average down?
Yeah, that was exactly it. I figured I might as well spend like, 10 seconds looking for climb because we had cleared so much. Like, I pretty much knew climb was in Ginso, so well, I mean, we didn't find it. It probably was in Upper Ginso. So I figured it's actually worth the time investment for me to find climb to give us grenade jumps if it's here. Because I thought it was a reasonably high chance that climb was going to be one of those pickups on the way to bash, and I got double jump instead, which is still pretty nice.
Yeah, for sure. It is pretty crazy. Like you guys pretty much 99% of that seed with your pickups like going through. It's like something like the vanilla Gumon seal check at the end of Misty, and then like I don't know, like Ginso, and that was basically it for what was left in. Really crazy.
There were a couple of pickups that were, like you said, Sigma, just really out of the way and horrible to check. Did it ever cross either of your minds to one of you just go and do really, really asinine pickup check?
I was actually going to do that. So when I did the Glazer, I was going to go to, another one of those Huffle pickups. That's basically when Sigma said, okay, let's do right side Horu because, I mean, at least one Water Vein shard should be there. Like, what's the probability? It's pretty high. That's when I basically gave up on that and did it. Basically, our idea after Horu would be that one of us would do the left side. Well, probably Sigma would do the left side of Horu, and I would just, do Misty because I was still missing the climb tree.
So, one last question on sort of that frame. For each of you, what is the absolute worst pickup you really didn't want to go check this seed?
I'd say Vanilla Gumon Seal would have been the absolute worst, especially because I had already done Misty to the 4th Keystone. I would have had to do it again, and I was just thinking, like, no way. Is that worth it?
What about you, Raz?
For me, I think I just figured out today that Horu without double jump is really painful.
It is.
So I guess doing like the whole left side would have been the worst for me. Since I'm not saying like Gumon Seal because I had to do Misty anyway, so yeah.
All right, great. Well, thank you guys so much for joining us for an interview, and congratulations again going up 3-0, qualifying for brackets, and setting yourselves up to go 5-0 heading into bracket stage. It'll be really interesting to see you guys continue to play on. GG, Raz and Sig.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, Poogle, thank you so much for joining me on commentary tonight. This was definitely a lot of fun to cast this match.
This was so much fun, anytime. Now, we've got 2 matches coming up tonight on Speed Gaming. What are they, Muffin?
At 10 p.m., it's going to be none other than Oshi versus Clean, and that is on Speed Gaming. And then we're going to see you, Poogle, face off against Bromelios, following up at 11:30 p.m. All those times are in Eastern, folks. So definitely stick around for those. That'll be starting in just over 2 hours on Speed Gaming. That being said, behind the scenes tonight, we had Skullblocka and Nans helping out with the stats and the trucking behind the scenes. Thank you guys so much, and major shoutouts to Richard, our restreamer. And we will see you guys in just over 2 hours. Good night, folks.
Night, everybody.